everyone, I'm Jody. Welcome to my channel and welcome to, we're gonna shop my stash and we're gonna go, and that's only what I can put in one hand. There's like 12 bottles of foundation here. We're gonna shop my stash of foundations and I'm gonna walk you through my favorites for oily skin, dry skin, and most definitely mature skin. We're also gonna talk about matte finishes and more natural finishes, medium coverage, full coverage, tinted moisturizers. I've got something for everyone. And we're gonna go through everything, including this new one from Prada, and I will give you my thoughts on this one as well. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can join a community of women over 40, 50, 60, 70, just trying to support one another, finding a common ground where we can share ideas, share products that are working for our more mature skin. And if you are a channel enthusiast and want to see even more content, including a live stream once a month, members only, then hit that join membership and I'll see you over there as well. All right, so if you are ready, let's just jump in and go through these foundations, and hopefully there's something in here that will work for you. If you're like me, you find a foundation that works well, and then as you go through, the seasons change, your skin changes, you're like, oh, I don't really like this foundation anymore. That happens all the time. And part of it is how our skin changes through hormonal changes, and it's also due to weather conditions, environmental changes. Maybe your skin goes from dry to really dry when you're indoors more. Whatever the case may be, it's rare that you find somebody that has one foundation that they love all year long, regardless of the seasons, unless they live in a climate maybe where the seasons don't change that much. Speaking of seasons, you guys, I had a cute tank top ready to wear today because it's spring and darn near summer, but it is 40 degrees out today where I live, and I'm like, I need a sweater today. So I know it looks more like I'm doing a fall makeup tutorial versus a spring and summer one, but hopefully any day soon. And then what's gonna happen, right? We're gonna be like, oh, it's so hot, I can't wait for it to get cool again. Before we jump into these foundations, one of the comments that I get most often is this lip combo. Whenever I wear this lip combination in a video, I get comments on what lip combination is that? So I wanna share that with you guys because I do wear this one a lot. This is the Pat McGrath Structure Lip Liner, and I wear it with the Pat McGrath Honey Haze lipstick. Now this is more of a flat matte in terms of the lips, but I'll put a little bit of Aquaphor if I want a little shine or just touch it up with a little bit of gloss. But when I'm filming, I don't prefer a high shine because I feel like it gets a little distracting. So for filming, it's just these two. But if I'm gonna go out in public with this look on, then I'll just add a little bit of gloss to the lips with, like I said, some Aquaphor. So this is one of those winning combinations for me, and I'll link this down below if you're interested. Before we get into these foundations, it's important to know that I wear this Guerlain 24 karat primer under all of my foundations. So that might impact the way these wear for me. There's a lot of great primers on the market, so you don't have to wear this primer to get similar results. It's really gonna be more dependent on what skin type do you have, more than any type of primer. If you have oily skin, you'll wanna use more of a mattifying primer to help hold in the oil and keep it from coming through your foundation. And if you have more enlarged pores, for example, and you want those to not be as prominent, this is a good one, and Smashbox's photo one is always a good one as well. And last thing is important to note is I have combination skin. I am oily in the T-zone and then I'm dry everywhere else. So I will talk through how these products wear in my oily zone, as well as my cheeks, which is more dry, so that you can get a sense of if these are gonna work for your skin based on oily skin, dry skin. And let's just jump into it. When it comes to a CC cream, and remember CC creams are for a corrector, it's a color corrector. So it's gonna have a little bit thicker of a consistency to it, cover up more pigmentation, thicker formula. It also has your moisturizer as well as your sunscreen. In terms of CC creams, I don't wear them that often, but when I do wear one, I like the ones by e.l.f. Now e.l.f. has two of them. One is the CC Camo and one is the Hydrating CC. I like the Hydrating for more mature skin. This one is really more if you have oily skin. And the reason for the two different colors for me is I usually, if I'm gonna wear this one, it will normally be in the summer where I'm gonna sweat a little bit. And I think the one that's not as hydrating, the one that's meant for more oily skin, works better when I know I'm gonna be sweating. And I fake tan up to my neck in the summer, so I need a darker color, which is why that's darker. And when I wear this one, it's usually gonna be in the winter where I'm not nearly as tan, so that's why this one's a lighter color. I believe these are under $15. I'll link them down below. The next product that I use a lot in my rotation, and I really like this product, is the L'Oreal True Match Nude. I just did a tutorial on this one for an everyday no makeup look, and I wear it in color 4-5. It has 1% hyaluronic acid. It wears really nicely on more mature skin. It is buildable. You don't need a lot. It's a sheer to medium coverage. You don't want to try to build this to full coverage. It's a tinted serum. It's not meant to be full coverage. But if you've just got a little bit of imperfections and you like the look of a natural glow to your skin, then this is a really nice one. I also find that this one's nice in the summer if I just want to do some patch work, and if I've got, you know, my skin's looking okay, but I've got a couple different blemishes or some freckles that I want to cover, I will just do some spot concealing with this one. This is just a nice light coverage, and I find that when you use just a little bit with a damp beauty sponge, it doesn't look cakey into those fine lines and wrinkles where I'm starting to see those more through my chin area, where foundation is starting to settle and look more orange peel. I don't get that with this when I apply it with a damp beauty sponge. When I apply this with my fingers, I don't get as good of a wear with it. Everyone's different, but this is a really nice all-around universal type tinted serum for more dry, mature skin. If your skin is really dry and you are looking for a tinted moisturizer type product, then I would recommend the Jones Road. The thing about this one is it's really meant for dry skin. And I say that because when I wear this on my T-zone, it just looks way too shiny and almost, it looks slippery. It just looks too oily. That's the word I'm looking for. It looks too oily in those areas. So if you've got mature dry skin, this is a good product. However, I think this is best for people that like to apply their makeup with their fingers. When I have applied this with a beauty sponge or even a brush, it just has little tiny, I don't want to say nodules, but it's like little tiny, it's almost like little pieces of sugar that are the foundation that don't break down, if that makes sense. I just find that when I apply this and then I look in the mirror, if I've applied it with anything but my fingers, you can see these little specks of gathered foundation. But something about the warmth from my fingers, I think, really make this blend out nicely. So again, this is a really nice one for mature skin, dry skin, and if you like to apply your makeup with your fingers, then I think you'd be really happy with this one. You have to purchase Jones Road from the Jones Road website only, so it is a little bit harder to get the right shade. But I did have to return a product to get the right color, and it was a very easy return process. I should also say this one leaves a very nice natural finish. It does say it's buildable, but I don't find that it builds very well. It's a sheer to medium-ish coverage, a little bit more to the sheer side than the medium coverage. It's really designed by Bobbi Brown to have just to give a nice glow to more mature skin. It's a great product. The thing about this product, I think, is you have to it's like going from a gas vehicle to an electric vehicle. Your thought process of your automatic motions just have to change. You have to apply it a little bit differently. The consistency is a little bit different. It's just, there's a learning curve with this, but once you get past that learning curve, it is a really nice product. If you guys have seen my videos, you know that I love this Haus Labs by Lady Gaga. This is a medium coverage. It has hyaluronic acid in it as well as fermented arnica. It looks great in my T-zone as well as the dry parts of my skin. So this is, I think, hands down, if you're looking for all around, universally flattering, sheer to medium coverage, for more mature skin, this is tough to beat. I know many of you that watch my channel on a regular basis have gone to this and the concealer as well and have loved it. I've had a few comments say they really didn't like it because they couldn't find a shade range that matches their skin type or their skin tone. I found this one on their website, on the Haus Labs by Lady Gaga website, and I got the right color the first time. Their website is really detailed and articulate in definitions, so you can answer the questions. And again, for me, it was the right match the very first time I did it. So if you find that you're struggling to find the right shade match in any foundation and you have more mature skin, a little bit to the dry side, I would highly recommend this. It's like I said, a natural finish. I don't build this one. If I want a full coverage, I will go to another foundation that we'll talk about in this mix. Because this one I think is better for more dry skin, you get the same benefits with the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk for more oily skin. It's that nice natural finish, little bit of a glow, but not over the top. It's a medium coverage, a little bit to the light side. It is buildable. It lets your skin look like skin. But I find that the more I build this one, it does get you to full coverage, but I find that it gets a little bit cakey if you layer it too much, unless you add a setting spray and then put your next layer. That way I have found this to be pretty buildable. I love this one. I just think for my dry skin areas, it looks too dry. Wears really well on more oily skin. If you like medium coverage and you like a semi-matte finish, then the NARS Light Reflecting is a great one. It wears well on my oily skin as well as my dry skin. It is a medium coverage that is buildable, but it dries down even though it says it's light reflecting. I find that it dries down. When I want to squeeze it too hard, I'll end up with it all over. It does have little particles of reflecting light, so it leaves a nice, it is a glow. I just find it to be a little bit more to the matte, soft matte side than a natural finish has been my experience with it. This is a beautiful foundation. I just find that in my dry areas, it doesn't wear as well as in my more oily areas. So if you have dry skin, let me know in the comment section if you use this and if you love it. I'd love to know what you put underneath it because many people love this foundation. I just find it a little more forgiving on mature skin that's more oily than more dry. But you can see it's a really pretty finish. It has nice coverage. I just wish it wore a little bit better on dry skin. But again, for oily skin, it's flawless. All right, let's talk about full coverage. You want to go out, you're having a glam night, and you want full coverage. In the drugstore category, I love this Infallible by L'Oreal. I have it in color 425. This is full coverage. I highly recommend that you wear this with a damp beauty sponge because the formula is so darn thick that when you put it on with, I mean, look, it doesn't even move. That's why a damp beauty sponge works really well. It thins out the consistency of the formula so that you can move it around without losing the pigment of the color. So you can get that full coverage, but you just get it in a little thinner consistency so that it doesn't settle as much into those fine lines and wrinkles. This dries down to a nice natural finish, a little bit to the shiny side, especially in the oily areas. But when you put a mattifying primer down first and then you put this on the oily areas, it works great. I find that it works nice on the dry parts of my skin, but again, I wear it with that primer underneath and it's a nice natural finish. It dries down really pretty. It is thick as you just saw, so you just want to use it sparingly. And if you like to spot conceal areas on your face and you need a little thicker formula, this, because it's such a thick formula, works as a really nice concealer as well. For another option when it comes to full coverage glam, this Makeup Forever High Definition Skin. Whenever I'm doing a friend's makeup for a photo session or somewhere where they're gonna be in photography or videos, this is, I think, the best foundation for those situations. So would you go buy a foundation just so you have a really nice one for photographing? Maybe if you've got a daughter's wedding or a granddaughter's wedding or a graduation and you know there's gonna be in pictures. It looks beautiful in person. It just looks really beautiful in photography. In fact, a lot of makeup artists use this in bridal photography. It is a full coverage foundation. It works well on oily and dry skin. I find it works best on normal skin, only because it can start to look a little bit patchy in more dry areas. If you see that's the case, however, a little bit of a spritz with some setting spray and it'll hydrate that, bring it right back to life. So I would not be fearful of wearing this like for a whole day if you had a wedding and you had the photography wasn't gonna be until 3 hours in. If you've got dry skin, you can still wear this. You just, like I said, just wanna refresh it and bring it back to life in your dry areas with a little bit of setting spray. But you can see it's a little more of a runny consistency compared to that L'Oreal, which is a little bit thicker. But boy, this is full coverage. Whenever I'm gonna be on TV, I wear this foundation because it just gives that nice, flawless, beautiful look to your skin, and it looks good in person as well. Now, if you love a full coverage, but you like a matte finish, then for sure, Forever Dior is hands down my go-to. It used to be the YSL All Hours. The old formula was I would have never needed another foundation. And when I said at the beginning of the video that it's rare that you find somebody that wears the same foundation year round, that was this foundation for me. When they changed this formula, they added hyaluronic acid to it and they changed the colors. I still just cannot find the right shade for me. They're all a little too warm undertone and I'm neutral. So everything looks more orangey or Oompa Loompa to me with this new formula. So it dried down to a really pretty matte. I loved it. The coverage was awesome. I always got compliments on my skin with this one, but I can't find the right shade. And so I've given up. And when I want a matte, I go with this one. This works well. I have it in color 3N. This works well on dry skin, oily skin. You can apply it with a kabuki brush. You can apply it with a beauty sponge. You can apply it with your fingers. It's very easy to apply. It's medium to buildable to get you that full coverage. And again, it is a matte foundation. The other thing I like about this is, see this lid? It's a little dirty, but it's not as dirty as many of them. The Haus Labs is the worst. I purposely didn't clean any of these lids, you guys, so that you can see how they wear over time. I don't know what it is about Haus Labs because I love this foundation, but this bottle is probably the worst of all of them in terms of how much stuff comes out and doesn't look right around the bottle. It squirts out just fine, it's the pump, but it's the messiest bottle of all these that I have. So again, matte finish, good for oily to dry skin, medium to full coverage for sure, and you can apply it any way. Pump action, love this one. So that brings us to the new foundation by Prada. Speaking of new foundations, did you guys see that Fenty Beauty just came out with a new one called Soft Glow? You know that 5 to 6 o'clock time frame when the sun's just going down and most photographers want to take family photos that time of the day, wedding photography, things like that. This foundation is meant to emulate that glow. I just saw that it was available, so I'm gonna get my hands on it to try. I did try the Fenty Beauty concealer though, and I'm not a fan. And while we're speaking of concealers, part 2 of this roundup, I am gonna do a video on concealers because I've got even more concealers than I have foundations, which is crazy. All right, back to the product. So this is the Prada Reveal. It's a refillable product, so you can just take this out and get a new one. So I do love that packaging is refillable. And this I have found, I've worn it quite a bit. I've been playing with this one. It's pretty messy too. Not as bad as the Haus Labs, but I haven't had it as long. Love this. Didn't want to love it because I think it's, I'll leave the price below. It's either $58 or $85. It is $55. So love it because the finish on this is a soft, really pretty glow. It's a medium coverage, so it's not too sheer. It is not too thick of a foundation. It's a more thin consistency. You can see it runs a little bit. Nice coverage, but it's just thin enough to let my skin's glow shine through, but it's also thick enough and hydrating enough that if my skin doesn't have a glow that day, this provides me with a glow. It has quickly become my favorite foundation, probably replacing my YSL, maybe replacing the Haus Labs, I think possibly, if it wasn't for the price. So it's $10 more than the Haus Labs by Lady Gaga. And I think I like the way this wears a little better. It's a little bit thinner consistency, so it's easier to apply. It's more blendable, I have found. And it looks nice in my oily skin as well as my dry skin, where this one I think looks much better on dry skin. If you've got oily skin, I just don't think this is a good one because it has so many hydrating properties in it. It's really designed well for more dry skin. This one by Prada wears nice in the oily parts as well as the dry parts of my skin. It's just, I love it. I absolutely love this one. This would probably be one of my new favorites. So on days where I'm wearing makeup, I'm gonna be wearing this on days that I want medium to a little bit more full coverage, but I want a little bit of a glow to my skin, which is pretty much every day. Unless I want a lighter, no makeup day, and then I'm gonna go with the True Match Nude by L'Oreal. That doesn't mean I'm throwing any of these away because there's a need for this, sometimes there's a need for this, but there's no reason you need to go have 12 different foundations. Just hopefully this video has provided you enough information on each of these that once you've identified, is your skin more oily or dry? Is it more mature? Do you have more wrinkles in it? Do you need something that doesn't settle into fine lines? Do you like to apply your makeup with a sponge or a kabuki brush or your fingers? And how do you like the finish to look? Do you like more of that soft matte? Do you like more of a natural finish? And lastly, how much coverage do you want? Sheer to medium or medium to full? And do you want it to be buildable for those days that you're not really sure what you want, but you want to have the choice? I will link all these down below in case you guys want to know more about each of them. And in the description box below, I will let you know what shade I'm wearing in each of these in case your skin tone is similar to mine. That does it for me today, you guys. Stay tuned because Friday's video is going to be very similar, only concealers. And I've got some winners and I've got a couple that I just wouldn't purchase. But again, that Fenty Beauty is one of them. So let me know in the comments if you've got the Fenty Beauty one and if you love it. It's just a little thin for me. Is that a spoiler alert? No, I've got plenty of other concealers to talk about in Friday's video. I'll see you guys then. Bye-bye.